Hi, my name is Toby Collins. Some people call me Father Toby Collins because I'm a priest. Others call me a resurrectionist because I live consecrated life. I am a member of a religious community called the Congregation of the Resurrection. In any case, along the way, I've had the opportunity to minister to and with many people, and they have asked me more than once, Father Toby or Toby, why is it that you do what you do? I'd just like to take this opportunity to answer that question. But the answer begins a few years back when I first started to think that this might be a possibility in my life. I was in my early 20s. I was just finishing off university, and I really was enjoying the social life, to be honest with you. And, other things weren't quite opening up yet. I began to get a little frustrated. I didn't have the relationship that I had hoped for. I didn't have the job or the career, although that soon unfolded. I got a landscaping position with somebody else, working on different things. And I soon picked up the different tricks of the trade and discovered that I actually had some of these gifts in myself. And I started a business called Tidy Toby Landscaping. It was one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done because I went out there, I took some risks, I was on my own. I had to hire some people on for help. I had to go out and look for contracts and work with people to help beautify their homes and businesses. And it grew, it took off, and I was delighted that things were going in that direction. But all the while, kind of inside me, there was still something missing. There was this something more that I hadn't quite put my finger on yet. And I think I discovered it doing one landscaping job in particular for St. Louis Parish in Waterloo, Ontario, where I'm from. I met some of the resurrectionists there. They were ministering as brothers and priests at this parish, helping people out in times of need. They didn't just lead in, the liturgies, presiding and preaching and doing different things. They were involved heavily behind the scenes, doing sick visits, helping the young people discover their gifts. They seemed to be in so many different places, and I only discovered this through the stories of others. And so I thought to myself, maybe this is something more. And so I began to discern this vocation. We walked together for a little while and went through the normal steps of religious life. I began to meet many priests and brothers in the community. I began to meet many religious sisters who also do much of this work in different congregations. And in and through it all, I became more in touch with God's presence in me and God's call to live that more. I'll give you an example. As part of my formation, I was invited to do a clinical pastoral education unit, to work at a hospital as a chaplain. One of my first visits I will never forget. I got to meet with an elderly man whose body over time stopped absorbing oxygen. His lungs were breaking down, and the doctors were only giving him a couple weeks to live. I introduced myself. I said, "Hi, my name is Toby. I've come from spiritual care to help you in any way that I can." Immediately, he said, "Could you pray with me?" And so we sat down and we prayed his favorite prayer, the Rosary. After praying that several days, he began to lift his spirits a little, and you could almost see how his family and he gathered and began to address some of the more difficult issues that they hadn't faced in a while. You could tell that he was saddened that his life was coming to an end, yet he still had hope that somehow these differences in his family could be resolved. A week later, when I expected him to maybe go on to the next life, I noticed outside of another room where I was doing a visit, this elderly man walk by who looked a lot like the man that I was just talking about. In fact, it was. He surprised all of the doctors and nurses. He began absorbing oxygen, walking the halls, eventually doing the stairs, and they actually sent him home. I remember our final meeting. He said, "Thank you so much, Toby, for praying with me. Now I can go home and be with my family, to talk about the things we need to talk about. That's just one example where I got to walk with somebody. I got to be part of some real transformation. I got to thank God for being the source of it. And there have been many other times along the way, in my formation and as I was ordained to the diaconate and later on to the priesthood.